This time of year, riding in the cold, crappy weather is nobody's favorite, but there are ways to make it a little bit less unpleasant. One of the best of which is these things right here. They're goofy looking, but damn do they work. Hippo Hands. Guess why they're called that? Yeah. So, what are these things? Well, these are a weatherproof, insulated solution for keeping your hands warm, keeping the wind off of your hands while you're riding in the cold, crappy weather. As you probably know, if you've ridden in cold weather, your hands out on the bars, exposed to constant wind while you're riding. The wind chill is exponentially colder than the weather outside, and they can go numb really quickly. Heated grips help, but only on the inside of your hands. They don't really do anything for the outside of your hands, and if your hands get wet, that super sucks. And Hippo Hands prevent all of those things. So you do need hand guards to install these, but they work with both the flag style and the wraparound style hand guards. So they're a very sturdy construction, covered on the outside in this sort of TPU waterproof, they call it hippo skin, and then on the inside, it's insulated with a layer of what they call Hippo Fat. They're very on brand over at Hippo Hands. Oh, by the way, thank you to Hippo Hands for sponsoring this video and for giving me some Hippo Hands to check out and review for you. They are thankfully stiff enough to remain open at highway speeds. They're not flexing and moving when you're riding fast. They're kind of aerodynamic, and they have a lot of reflectivity. This is a full reflective panel here on the front, so they actually make your bike more visible when you're riding in the dark, which, you know, happens at 4:30 in the afternoon this time of year. They come in 3 sizes. They have the Backcountry. Those are the small ones. They are 9 inches deep. That is the ones that I have on my 300L Rally that we used on the trail riding video we did recently. These are the Rogue. They're 10.5 inches deep. This is what they call the Commuter rider's model of choice. I like this one because it's a great size to put on your adventure bike, but then swap over to a dual sport if you have more than one motorcycle. Not too big for one, not too small for the other. So this is the size that I ran forever when I only had 1 pair. And then they have the big granddaddy, the Alcan. Alcan is 12 inches deep, and that is the handguard of choice for like people that are doing daily commuting on big bikes. It looks really good on a Goldwing, but if you want maximum protection for the longest amount of time, the Alcan is the way to go. These are incredibly easy to mount. Surprisingly, they've refined it, which I appreciate. So the previous version had kind of a Velcro strip that just wrapped around your handguard, but it slid back and forth quite a bit, and they've refined the mounting setup with the new generation. There's a built-in Velcro tab here. It's a loop, really, and that does not move inside the handguard, which keeps it in place a lot better than the previous generation. I really like that upgrade, so well done, Hippo Hands. They're super easy to mount, and after a little bit of an initial setup process, you can take them on and off the bike in seconds. So if you're, you know, like I said, you have 1 pair and you're moving it from bike to bike, that's very easy once the initial setup process is done. You can also get extra Velcro straps from them. You buy a pair, you buy straps for every bike you have, you move it between your bikes no matter what you're riding, quick and easy. Done. So they look a little goofy, but do they work? The answer to that question is a resounding hell yes they do. Just keeping your hands dry makes a huge difference. Just keeping your hands out of the wind makes a huge difference. These do both of those, but the insulation keeps your hands so much warmer than just having regular handguards or no handguards at all. And if you have heated grips, it turns the inside of the thing into a copacetic cocoon of comfortableness. It's a very comfortable way to eliminate the most uncomfortable part of riding in the wintertime. Biggest question I get, do they get in the way when you stand up off-road? The answer to that is shockingly no. If you're really worried about that, if you're standing up a lot, I recommend the Backcountries. They're not as deep. They're not gonna touch the back of your hand when you're standing up. But if your handguards are positioned slightly down the way they should be to cover your leverage for when you're standing up anyway, that just changes the angle of the Hippo Hands and they stay out of the way. But even if they were in your way, they're so flexible. Like, this is very flexible that if your hand pushes up against it, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's the same thing, like, it will reduce your turning radius slightly because there's a little bit sticking out, actually here, in the front of it, where you turn the handlebars, but it doesn't matter because it just squishes and deforms. You're not gonna notice it in the way. So they are actually quite good for on and off-road riding. As long as you set them up properly, which is not difficult to do. So pros of Hippo Hands, what do I like about them? Well, a lot of things. These can keep your hands warm enough to use lighter gloves in the winter. So if you don't like the bulky feeling of not being able to move your hands or feel the bars while riding, you can avoid that, wear lighter waterproof gloves or even summer gloves if you want, if you have these on your bike while you're riding in the winter. There is almost no other product that allows you to do that. They work even better with heated grips, like I said. They create that warm cocoon inside. It's very, very comfortable. I wish I could crawl inside sometimes on a cold, rainy day when I'm out riding. The construction is very sturdy. They feel super well made, tight stitching. You know, and there are a lot of knockoff versions of these, and these are the originals, and they're the best ones that I've seen. A lot of the others are flimsy, they're not as well insulated, they're a lot more cheaply made. There's a reason why when you refer to something like this insulated handguard, people say Hippo Hands, even when that's not actually what brand it is. It's kind of like Velcro or Ziploc that way, but these are the originals. These are sturdy and well made, and I think if you're gonna get a pair, they're worth the money. They're lightweight, you don't really notice them. They're very aerodynamic, they don't affect the way the bike handles. They double as a waterproof hat, which I put in as a joke, but technically, I guess, if you were getting to camp and trying to set up camp and keep your head dry, it would technically work. I would maybe wear it this way. Yeah, that would make more sense. Bonus, if you wear it this way though, you get to look like the motorcycle pope, which is a win in my book. I had a lot of issues with the handguard sliding around on the previous generation, and one of the biggest pros I think of the new model is that they fixed that. They fixed the biggest complaint, and they still worked. It was just annoying because I would have to pull them up once in a while. These don't move at all, so it's great to see that. But they're not perfect. There are some cons. The biggest con is probably they don't look super cool. They look kind of dumb, honestly. It's like a cross between elephant ears and moose antlers on your motorcycle. They don't look cool, they look warm, which is what it's about in the winter. It does make it hard to see your controls, which is sort of a good thing depending on how you ride. If you're the type of person that's constantly looking down, this will break you of that habit. It's sort of like when you were learning to type and the teacher would put like a board or something across it so you couldn't look at the keys anymore because you're not supposed to. You're supposed to build that muscle memory. Same thing. This will help you build the muscle memory for where your turn signals and controls are. But you can't see them, so that's a con, I guess. They don't get in the way when they're set up properly, but they do occasionally move around, especially if you're riding hard. So, you know, you might find that your brights are on or something once in a while. They will occasionally bump a control. I was out riding with Amanda, Nathan, and Chris one time, and hers hit the horn on her bike, which was super funny. That's not something that happens very often, or it's not a safety concern. It's just sort of a mild annoyance that occurs occasionally. And they're not very compact. This is, you know, the second smallest version they have. So once they're on, they're on. Finding a place to take this off and stuff it in your bag because it got hot is probably not going to happen. You could strap it down to the top of your bike or whatever, but I only put them on days when I know it's going to be cold and crappy all day. You know, if it's like warm enough that it's going to be hot later, I'm not using them anyway, so I don't really care. But that is a concern. So, final conclusion. What's the verdict on these Hippo Hands? They're not cheap, but if you ride in the fall, winter, or early spring, they're totally worth the cost. They're easy to install, sturdy, functional, and they'll last you a lifetime. Yes, they look dumb, but they do what they're designed to do, and they do it well. These are made by a local company. Hippo Hands is in Bend, Oregon, and it's run by a bunch of really cool dudes who I have hung out with on multiple occasions. They even shared their keg with Travis and I at Touratech the first year I was there, which warmed my heart and my belly, and I'll be forever grateful to them. So there are people that I seek out every time that I see them at an event to make sure that I talk to and hang out with, and the Hippo Hands guys are among them. I think it's a cool company worth supporting. They make a good product that's super useful. So if you're looking for a way to keep your hands dry and warm this winter while you're riding, if you want to extend your riding season, if you don't want to winterize your motorcycle, winterize your gear. And one of the best and most effective ways to do that is with Hippo Hands. So I love these things. I love the company. I think they're a great product. I encourage you to check them out if you're interested. Also, they have local vendors in Canada and the United Kingdom, so you don't have to pay an arm and a leg for shipping if you live in one of those countries. Just pop over to their website. There are direct links to those distributors there. Thanks again to Hippo Hands for supporting me for years now. I've been using their stuff for a while. They hooked me up, like I said, that first time around the old campfire around the keg, and I've been using their products ever since. So thanks to them for sending me Hippo Hands to enjoy and for sponsoring this video. I will link Hippo Hands' website in the description. And thank you for watching, and please do not forget to be excellent to each other. Thank you.
Excellent!